Thursday Night Football, the Jacksonville Jaguars travel to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets. Today I got my favorite player prop, spread pick, and same game parlay for this contest. Yo, what's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Let's recap last week though. It was one to remember for the channel as we went 9-1 in week 15. Our only loss was James Conner. We needed one more rushing attempt from him. We were 2-0 on same game parlays, and that doesn't even count towards the 9 wins. Either way, a great week for us overall. I said last week I had to be better, and I was just that. So if you are new to the channel, go down below, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the daily videos we do for not only the NBA, but we'll have a separate video for Saturday in the NFL, and for Sunday in the NFL, and even a Monday Night Football video. So hit that subscribe button. We just passed 60,000 subscribers. Let's see how many we can hit before we get to 2023. Thanks to all the people that drop likes on the videos. We can't do without you guys. And also, comment your favorite pick for this game. It could be a player prop, it could be your game pick, but we've also been hot in the NBA, so you don't want to miss out on those daily best bet videos. But either way, let's have a great Thursday night. And I'll see you guys in those other NFL videos later this week. But this video is brought to you guys by Underdog Fantasy. I talked about this in the daily NBA video, but at Underdog Fantasy, a great place to place your player prop parlays. And the best part is if you sign up using code COS or the link down below in the description, you will get a 100% deposit match. Whatever you deposit, you'll get that matched, and you have double whatever you match up to $100. So you can deposit $100. You'll now have $200 to bet on. So take advantage of that. All the details are down below in the description. Sign up for Underdog. It's available in a ton of US states. Let's hop into my player prop though. Zay Jones of the Jacksonville Jaguars under 51.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DraftKings. I'd probably play this down to about 46.5 or so. I saw FanDuel around 48, 49.5. But look at, and speaking of Underdog Fantasy, the sponsor of the video, they actually have his line at 52.5. So you get a better line for his under. But let's talk about Zay Jones because it might seem foolish to come out here and fade a guy that just had 109 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against the Cowboys. But you're dang right, I'm going to be fading him. And you look at Jones, he's under this line in only 6 of 13 games. He's been good the last 2 weeks. Does he have 3 straight games, good games in him? I think a lot of people are going to be trotting him out there in their fantasy football playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Zay Jones lays an egg on Thursday night. Now let's talk about him because last week, obviously, he cooked the Cowboys secondary. It wasn't just him cooking them. It was everyone on the Jags. As you saw Trevor Lawrence throw for 311 passing yards. The week before that, he threw for like 358. So Jones obviously probably going to go over in that circumstance. Now, Lawrence's passing yards, not even close to 300. His line set to around the 215 to 220 mark. Actually in the under on that. And there's a reason why. Now, on Thursday, Jones likely going to match up against either Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed, 2 cornerbacks that have been elite this year. Now, people like to complain about Sauce Gardner as a defensive pass interference and saying he's holding a lot. Look, we don't care about that because if he's holding, he's getting DPIs. That doesn't matter because those yards don't count towards receiving yards for Zay Jones. So if he wants to go out there and hold Zay Jones on every route, fine by me. He won't get any receiving yards. But you look at the Jags. I mean, you look at the Jets secondary. They've been very good. And if you play fantasy football, you know the Jets allow the second fewest fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. And since week 4, they've been dominant. You look at it in the first 3 weeks of the year, the Jets gave up 6 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. Since then, over the next 11 games, just 4 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. So I don't think Christian Kirk or Zay Jones has a big night. Little hint for the same game parlay, but look, Reed and Gardner have just been really well, and I think they're going to play again well tonight. Now, over the last 11 games, the Jets only allowed 9 wide receivers to have 50 or more receiving yards. That did include 2 last week versus the Lions, so anticipate they step up here. And if you look at the weather, heavy wind and rain is expected in the forecast. We know the Jaguars coming from down south. Going to be going up. It's going to be a little bit chilly for them, and this is going to be a heavy rain and wind game. They've only played in one bad conditions game. That was against the Philadelphia Eagles. They struggled in that game. So I think the Jets cornerbacks come out here, and I think it's actually a good thing that Zay Jones is coming off a massive game. People might be targeting his overs, thinking, oh, he's going to absolutely go light up the field. I don't think that's the case. It's a tough matchup, tough conditions, and look, the Jets are going to game plan for him after seeing him score 3 touchdowns last week. So, Zay Jones, we're taking his under 51.5 receiving yards. That's my favorite player prop for this game. Let's move on to my game pick, though, and I'm going to be riding with, drumroll please, the New York Jets. And I'm taking them on the money line, plus 100 on points. But now, this is not a homer pick because if you've been watching the videos for a hot minute, you actually know I fade the Jets a good amount of times. But look, I'm just going to dive into how my friend group's reacting because as a Jets fan, and I have a Jags fan in our group chat, the Jaguars fans think they're back. They've won 2 straight games, including that electric victory over the Cowboys. And then you look at me as a Jets fan, lost 3 straight. Our team stinks. And everyone in the mother and their mother and the public is all over the Jaguars. And look, I'm here to say it ain't that easy. Jaguars on the road against a tough Jets defense. I don't know. I'm just saying I think the Jets pull off a victory here. The Jaguars defense has not played well by any stretch of the imagination. The last 4 games, giving up 27, 40, 22, and 34 points. If they're giving up over 20 points to the New York Jets, probably a good chance they lose this game. And Trevor Lawrence, got to give him props. He's been great so far over the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Been absolutely talented. But this is a very talented Jets defense. It's going to be tough sledding for him. And look, the Jaguars, like I talked about in the player prop, only played one game really in bad conditions. That was in Philadelphia. Trevor Lawrence fumbled the ball 4 times, and they lost by 8 points to the Eagles, but it shouldn't have even been that close. They should have lost even more, but they scored a couple garbage time touchdowns in there. Now, a bad weather game, which just projects to be, I'm not a meteorologist by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm not banking on bad weather, but a bad weather game, in my opinion, favors the New York Jets. I think they have a better run game. They're better in the trenches than this Jaguars team, and I think Zonovan Knight will be able to have a pretty good game. Now, if you look at last week, you saw at the beginning of the show when we recapped our 9-in-1 day or week, we took Zonovan Knight's under in rushing yards. That was a bad matchup for him against the Lions. Pretty decent matchup against the Jaguars. I trust Zach Wilson in the game to get it done. The Jets have the skill play and then playmakers to beat a Jaguars team, to beat them man coverage, beat them zone coverage. They got Corey Davis likely returning. Garrett Wilson's been a stud. Elijah Moore's back in the offense. And then they got the 2 running backs that are kind of doing pretty well. Look, the Jags and Jets played last year. I believe that game was in Jacksonville. Jets beat them. And that was a game that Zach Wilson threw 102 yards. I think Wilson throws for a little bit more than that, but I don't think he needs to. I think this is a Jets win. I think they end the Jacksonville Jaguars playoff aspirations that they've suddenly, they went from 4-8 to 6-8. I don't think they win this game. I'm picking the Jets. It's not a homer pick at all because I faded the Jets many, many times this season, but this looks like a clear Jets victory. I think they spank this Jaguars team, and maybe I'm wrong. And then I can double in pain as the Jets lose and I lose my own money. But I think the Jets go out here and win this game. So I'm taking the Jets on the money line, plus 100 on points bet. I don't think they should be underdogs. I think they'd be about 3-point favorites in this one. So give me the Jets with the value. Now, it's time for the same game parlay. And we've been pretty good on these, actually. Last week we were 2-0. Hopefully we can go 2-0 this week. Maybe even more we'll do. And I call this one, it's themed. We had a themed one on Monday Night Football. Baker Mayfield stinks. And I call this one the Trevor Lawrence sell job, as I will be looking at all these legs. And let's dive into them. The first leg, Trevor Lawrence under 269.5 passing yards. This is going to have to be on DraftKings. They are the book with the alt under high lines. And I really like those alt unders. Rather, you look at FanDuel, they never give you the alt under lines. They only give you alt overs for good reason. They want people to force those bets. Now, Trevor Lawrence under 269.5 passing yards. And I think that kind of coincides with the Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. Both those two guys going under 74.5 receiving yards. Then the Jaguars under 2.5 total touchdowns and the Jets money line. Now you look at those last 2 legs, they kind of go hand in hand. If the Jags aren't scoring, 3+ touchdowns, I don't know if their defense can hold the Jets to less than 3 touchdowns unless they kick like 9 field goals. But if the Jags go under 2.5 team total touchdowns and the Jets probably are going to more than likely win. And then all it comes down to is maybe bad weather or maybe just a bad Trevor Lawrence game. If Trevor Lawrence goes out there and stinks up the joint, going to be hard for him to get 270 passing yards. Going to be hard for either of his receivers to get 75 plus receiving yards. And ultimately, both those 2 receiving yards lines like 20 to 25 above their regular line. So, look, I like all of these plus 310 on DraftKings. I'm just saying sprinkle on it. Could it happen? I certainly think it has a chance. So why not? Why not ride it out? We cashed that plus 200 one on Monday Night Football. We cashed a plus 427 one on Thursday Night Football last week. Who says we can't cash another one? Plus 310. I like all 5 of these legs. I think they all got a chance. They all kind of coincide with each other. I mean, Trevor Lawrence stinks it up. Jets are more than likely going to win this game unless Zach Wilson says, no, I'm stinking it up more than you. But either way, this is going to be obviously a big-time game. People are going to be looking at the Wilson and Lawrence storylines. People are obviously going to be looking at Lawrence playing super well over the last 4 weeks. I think he stinks it up. I think the Jets get after it, get the win, get back into the playoff conversation. Those are my favorite picks. Zay Jones under 51.5 receiving yards. We're going with the Jets on the money line, and then we'll sprinkle on this same game parlay. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you want to sign up for Underdog, I lost my shirt, but if you want to sign up for Underdog Fantasy, definitely use code COS so you get that 100% deposit match. Let's have a great NFL week. Let's have another great, keep continuing the dominance we are in the NBA. And you guys, I'll see you guys back in the other videos. Let's have a great day. Make some more money going into Christmas. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.